Okay, this will be good enough, I think. So, alright, well, I was going to test some stream settings, so I thought, oh, better mute that. Alright. So I thought I would just stream myself prepping my chart for tomorrow in order to test that, but I don't think I'm going to change much. It's good enough. Thing I need to do is clean up the chart because it is messy. All better. Really like the idea of coming up to the buy side here around Monday or Tuesday. Certainly the buy side here. I might not talk much doing this. I'm mostly just streaming this to make sure the stream quality will be good for tomorrow and that my PC isn't going to die with the new setting that I enabled. probably not even going to save this VOD to my YouTube channel. I'm probably just going to delete it when it's over. See if it depends on if I talk about anything insightful. Sell side here in ES that NQ does not have, which makes it complicated for Monday because ES has sell side, NQ does not, but NQ has buy side. ES has buy side up here as well, so probably want to be leaning long early in the week, this coming up week. I need to clean this up. Oh my goodness. I usually don't let this get so messy. That down to the bottom, maybe. Lagging a little bit. See, I don't know if it's lagging because of the setting I enabled or if my PC is just having a bad day, because it could easily just be it's having a bad day. What's this? It's getting there. Daily value gap, definitely just want to leave that. Big opening gap. Oh, that looks important. Missing some fair value gaps as well. Honestly, it might be these. What is that? Been slacking on keeping all of these annotated and organized. Don't need to zoom in on them every time I do it. What's that? What is this? Shit, don't see it. It's gonna drive me crazy. Just delete it. It's probably fine. There's that one there. Weak opening gap. All right, that's it. I am going to folder. That's it. There you go. Whoa. Okay. The daily chart ended up closing below the consequence encroachment of this inefficiency. That's interesting. Get rid of the buy side for now. It's obvious where it is. Don't need it annotated necessarily. Let's see. I guess I'll pull this chart over here. I have a whole separate monitor with a completely different chart over here. Um, Isn't that interesting? That's a weekly midpoint consequence encroachment of this wick here, and the bodies stopped just perfectly right there. If you go to a lower time frame, it's even more impressive. Where is it? Oh, does it not show up on the lower time frame? Hold on. Go. It's this red line just stopped right there. That's interesting. I really like the idea of coming up to these. I mean, that is just extremely clean liquidity pool right here. I think we're set up pretty nicely for it. Also, right here, generated a lot of buy side. Uh, this one's just as clean as the other one now, so I'll just pull that back over here. Uh, I like the idea of trading into this inefficiency on the daily chart. This could be a nice initial draw for the week. It's technically a suspension block, but I'm just going to call it a fair value gap because it's easier to type. Doesn't really matter the terminology. There's this midpoint of this big wick here, and it's just about overlapping that midpoint of this daily fair value gap. So that's going to be a really important key level right here. Also really close to that 29,000 even level. 29,900. So that's that range right here is going to be pretty important to pay attention to. Uh, this inefficiency on the daily chart played out really nice. It couldn't even get close to the midpoint and used the lower quadrant and then ran away from it. So it's seemingly pretty weak, but I don't think I really don't think it's going to leave this liquidity pool. I think I'm not trying to predict anything long term or anything, but if it were to roll over into a bear market, if it were to do that, I think first it would come up and disrupt this high at a bare minimum before doing that. Taking a lot of sell side on the daily chart. Um, it's a little tricky that the daily closed below this midpoint, that inefficiency. That makes it a little tricky because that's bearish doing that. But either way, I want to be leaning at the beginning of the week long to trade up into this inefficiency on the daily chart. And then there's a liquidity pool right here as well. So we'll see. This could become an inversion fair value gap on the daily chart because it was formed right before this liquidity pool was taken here. So that could easily be an inversion fair value gap on the daily chart. We would have to displace above it. So, I don't know if there's anything else I want to annotate on these higher time frames. It's already kind of a lot. It's not that much, but I don't want the chart to get too cluttered. There's this weekly inefficiency, which is interesting to look at. We closed below the midpoint on the weekly as well of this weekly inefficiency. So it could go either way. It could continue meandering maybe down to this one and, and then reverse. It could come up and take this high. Like it's really, really hard to say what it's going to do. Definitely long term, whenever it's in this type of consolidation, especially at all-time highs. No, I haven't looked at a continuous chart in a while. Take a gander at that. I mean, it is really run up aggressively. Really hard to know what it wants to do. I definitely want to be leaning long for this liquidity pool right here, but there are signatures in price suggesting it could be weak. It closing below that midpoint, and then the weekly chart getting a body closing below this one right there. So there's signs of weakness, but not enough to really convince me it's going to tank or anything like that. I'm not expecting that at all. I think if it is going to absolutely tank, go into some sort of bear market or something, it will come up for these highs before that happens. So still just treating it like a range. I don't think this is breaking out of the range. I don't think it's going to run away from the range. I think we'll see a retracement back up into the range, more than likely. So we'll go back to my... the weekly, the midpoint right here was respected, and then we rallied off of it. It was even respected here, but now that we're closing below that midpoint, that could be a key level. Maybe we come down for this in this small little inefficiency. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I want to be leaning long. Definitely short term, just for the next couple days. And then I'll have to reevaluate depending on what it does Monday, Tuesday. I want to get rid of this, but I guess I could just leave. This is what I'll do. I'll name it weekly fair value gap, consequence encouragement, and then I'll just get rid of the background. And then the middle line, I'll thicken it a little bit and we'll make it a little too much, maybe. Make it yellow. So now that level is annotated, but it's not too busy. Yeah. So that'll be a key spot to watch. So now I'm just gonna slowly meander down to the 1 minute chart. I'll check the 4 hour, the 1 hour, the 15, the 5, and then the 1. And I'll just keep going down until I get to the 1 minute and just kind of, I don't know. Just taking in the chart just to try to get some sort of idea of what it wants to do. maybe tonight when it opens up at 6 p.m. and then the beginning of the week. Hmm. Oh. Little 4 hour inefficiency here overlapping the daily. I really like the idea of trading into this area because we'd be taking out buy side here and then trading into these inefficiencies. I like the idea of using this daily fair value gap, keying off of this one to come up to this one. 60 now. Because while we did get a daily close below the midpoint, that doesn't mean that. Hold on, I'm head casing. All right, that doesn't mean that we can't go long short term for this liquidity pool, and that doesn't mean that this inefficiency can't be used bullishly short term, even if it is showing signs of bearishness by getting that close below the daily midpoint of this daily for value gap. So hourly inefficiency here overlapping the midpoint of this daily fair value gap. This move up could happen during the overnight session. The overnight session could take out this high here. I'll be a lot more confident in what I want to see for Monday on Monday morning after the overnight session has played out. But I like the idea of shooting for buy side liquidity above the market. I really like the idea of doing that. So just to, I'm just going to note that by putting in buy side liquidity levels. So that's what I'm shooting for. I'm very confident in this one at a bare minimum. This one, obviously, I'm just trying to keep the chart clean, as clean as possible. 15 minute. Use that midpoint really nicely right here. That's really clean, overlapping this inefficiency as well. That's really nice. Put another one right here because those highs are really clean. It's already kind of busy. I hate how busy it gets. Um, I guess I could just eyeball these liquidity pools, but it's also, I kind of like having them drawn out because it's kind of, I don't know. It's almost like it's proof that I called these levels because I had it drawn out in advance. But I don't know. That it doesn't really matter, I guess. And then we get down to the 1 minute, and there's obviously sell side right here. So I wouldn't be shocked if I don't know, maybe it gaps down. It could do anything. There's no way. There's no way to know the order that it'll do things in. But I'll. This will likely get taken out. These lows here, and I want to be shooting for these highs here as a draw. So it could do a lot of things. It could gap up, form more buy side, and then come down for these lows. It could gap down, accumulate, and then come back up for the buy side. There's no way to know what it's going to do. It could open flat and tank. Like, there's no way to know. Just have to wait for more information, but definitely leaning for the buy side up here. So now what I think I'll do is go to the 15-minute, maybe the hourly, and I'm going to pull up all of my PD arrays. I really like TradingView because, oh look, I have more things to throw into the miscellaneous folder here. Hopefully I don't accidentally like mess something up with my organization, but okay. It actually is nice having a miscellaneous folder because then I can hide all of it with a click of a button. That's kind of nice. But I really like TradingView because you can have this kind of like a filing cabinet of all of your key levels, and you can have them annotated and organized and put in a literal folder. So what you can do is click this hide and show button, and maybe that's not. I mean, see all the levels that pop up? I guess we can hide these. Let's hide those. And then all the first presented for value gaps come up that I've annotated. I'm definitely missing some. If you look at the dates, I'm missing the 23rd, the 15th. I need to go through and fill in these little gaps because some days I forget to annotate, or maybe I don't trade that day, or whatever. But you can show these and then just find which ones are relevant. Obviously, these ones are not relevant. They're so far away from price. But this one is relevant because it's in close proximity. So this could be used potentially. So which one is that? That is Friday the 24th. So then you could just hide everything and then just show the 24th. You can also just click through them individually. But I find it easier just to do this. And the 20th is interesting because it's kind of a large one as well. And then this one's interesting. So the 20th and the 24th. There you go. And you can do that with all of your PD arrays. I'm not going to have any of these enabled just to keep the chart clean. Whenever we get closer to these levels, I might annotate some of them, but for now I'll keep them hidden A weak opening gap. This one could be interesting. These two definitely are interesting. This one, not so much. It's very tiny. And the liquidity is right here. If we're going to come up to this one, I expect it to just take the liquidity here. It could still use it, obviously, but it's in such close proximity to the highs. I would just expect the highs to get taken if it came up to this one. This one, however, I could see it using this and rejecting price to form more buy side. Oh no, wait. That's a first presented. I got confused. That's Friday's first presented. Okay. Disregard that. What I said, it still makes sense for the first presented, but it's just not a new week opening gap. This one isn't important to me, like I just said. This one is interesting. So what is that? That's the 19th. We'll annotate that one. And then these new day opening gaps, I am extremely behind on. I have hardly any of them annotated. It just happened. It's just one of those things where you forget one day to annotate it, and then you forget the next day, and then you remember it the third day, but you're like, I'm already behind 2 days. I'll just do it all tomorrow, and then it escalates, and now you've hardly annotated any of them. It's just one of those things. So this one's interesting. This one's definitely something to note, I think. But I want to keep the chart clean, so for now, I'll just keep those hidden. I think this is good enough, these 3 levels here. So now I can go ahead and show my other levels. And yeah, hopefully this hasn't become too busy. I'm gonna put a border on this. Just because it's overlapping this daily for value gap inefficiency, and it's both gray. You can see it, but it's just slightly harder to see, so I just give it the little outline so it pops a little more in the chart. Guess I'll do the same thing for this one just to be consistent. There you go. This one's on its own, so I'm not going to put the border on that one. It looks pretty busy. I'm going to get rid of the buy side. I'm going to force myself to do it. I know it's there, but it cleans it up a little bit. The lower time frames don't look nearly as busy once you're so zoomed in like this, but whenever you zoom out, it becomes busy pretty quickly. This is good. I think this is fine. It's not too much. So yeah, these are the key levels I'm going to watch. I think this one will be interesting. I think this could do one of two things. Price could either blast through this first presented fair value gap for Monday, the 20th. It could blast through it and then come back to it and use it to propel higher to the liquidity. Or it could reject off of it and then form more buy side liquidity below these lows. Or maybe it takes a couple of these lows, leaves this one, and then displaces back through it and uses it to come back down. Still generating, so then it's taking some buy side and generating more buy side at the same time. And then it could come back down. So this is really important to me just because it's in close proximity to this whole accumulation. and to the buy side, but it's not too deep in the buy side. The other one was like all the way up here. And so in that instance, I'm thinking, if it's going to come all the way up here, it's likely just to blast through these anyway. Whereas this one, it's kind of in a sweet spot where it's not too deep in the liquidity, and it's also not too far away either. So this could, I think this will be important. If it can't even reach this, and it rejects, let's say, off this midpoint of the daily for value gap, that's a sign of extreme weakness in the market. So it's just a lot of wait and see, and if then. If it does this, then it should do this. So I'm not going to head case too much about it right now. If I just sit here talking to myself about what it could do, I could be here for hours. So I think this is good. I like the levels. It's not too busy. It's cleaned up a little bit. It's relevant for this week's coming up price action. So yeah, now I'm pretty much prepped for tomorrow. So I think that'll be just about it. Hopefully the stream quality is still good. Hopefully it's a little better. It's probably just going to be the same, which is fine because it wasn't too bad to begin with anyway. So yeah, I think that'll be it.